Hi guys, it's Bobby, your big gay trucker for LGBTQ plus Truck Driver Network, and this is round 2 of trying to get the show started today because I screwed it up somehow. But that's basically what's going on. So today we are going to have Derek, and he is one of our admin moderators and part of the team here at TDN, and he is going to be here starting the series of us talking about. Basically our road to Mats, our road to what we're doing and behind the scenes, and lining up all the different shows and lining up all of the different events we're going to be at. Plus, the process of getting vetted companies and driver memorial programs, all the different things that we do. And Derek is one of those wonderful people that gets to put up with me 24/7, and because that's a joy for everyone. And and then he gets the joy of putting up with Jess, as we call Jessica. But we are. So I messed it up a little bit today. I tried to do something new that Restream had offered us, and it didn't work exactly right. So that's why for the first few minutes, we went live, but we only went live on like one social platform instead of all the platforms at once. So what we're going to do is bring Derek in, and we're going to chit chat for the next 45 minutes or so. So here we go. Hi, Derek.
Hi, baby. Let's try this again, huh?
Well, that's what happens when you're live. You screw things up from time to time.
It happens.
So basically, what we're going to do is start out by Derek telling us a little bit about himself and how long he's been with the organization and in trucking, and go from there.
So, my name's Derek. I've been in trucking now for 20 years. Originally started because of my grandfather. It's in the blood. So it's definitely something I do. I also work EMS on the side, part-time. We typically do that on my weekends off. I've been with the organization. I've been following the organization for about 2 years now. I always sat in the background because I'm okay being gay, but I wasn't sure about being in the light and stepping up until about 6 months ago. Really decided to step up and join the board and try to help elevate things and get things worked out better for the drivers out here on the road.
Okay. And so for you, I know that when we started,
I'm seeing the comments. It's got to be Jessica.
When we started, and me and Derek first met, I had put up a post about "You are the problem," and he loved me from the moment he met me. But it took a moment for him to see. It took a moment for him to see what I was talking about, and it really was just the point of, if you're standing idly by and you see discrimination or hate or any of these type of things in the world happening, and whether you're gay, straight, bi, it doesn't matter that part really, what your orientation is. But if you're someone standing by watching that stuff happening in the workplace, or and not standing up to say something, then you are part of the problem, is what So we so I told Derek when we first met that he was part of the problem. And we've been friends ever since. So
I swear, that's how you need to introduce yourself to people, but off the bat to begin with. Just be a bitch and you'll get along.
So yeah, but he does amazing stuff here. We've been doing things with the vetted program, and which is really, really important, because a lot of people are looking for companies, but then they try to find companies that I won't say they're LGBTQ friendly, but and I say that kind of loosely, but at the same time, what we do is we take it a little bit step farther by asking questions. And it's not, I just don't want the standard status quo of, if you have a DOT medical card and a clean driving record, then we'll hire you. And if you're LGBTQ, sure, we'll hire you because we don't discriminate against anybody. But that we take it a little bit step farther. And so Derek helps with that process, and he understands the importance of a trans driver or just anybody being able to be comfortable where they work at. So,
So I think a big thing I want everybody to know is when we do this vetting is yes, I've got the standard questions. Are you LGBTQ friendly? But I also want to know, do you have a policy in place for same-sex harassment? Do you have a policy in place against a transgender driver? I don't want a company just to be LGBTQ friendly. I want it to be a safe space for our drivers. Because if I'm going to tell somebody that this is a good company to go drive for, that they're friendly, I want to know that they've got policies in place for it. So it's a lot more than what anybody thinks of just making phone calls every day and going, oh, okay, yeah, they're good with gays and lesbians. We're good.
right.
Now, we put a lot more into it than just that.
Just a lot more thought, and we think through the process, and it's a little bit more than just, yeah, they're gay friendly, they'll hire you if you're LGBTQ, they don't have a problem. And it's a little bit more than that. So it's just a step that we've created to keep people safe, and that they have that safe zone with, like, the page. The page itself is a safe zone, and we have a lot of people that reach out on the page, and they're not able to post or they're not able to comment because they're not out to their family or friends, but they follow the page, and they thank us, for the things that we're doing, and being visible, and the diversity that we're trying to show within trucking in general. So now, so far, um, what has been the most rewarding thing for you as being a part of the organization, or what has it shown you or taught you?
One of the biggest things is to be okay with yourself. We've got so many members, especially our board members, that is so diverse in who they are. Some identify as allies, some have the pineapple on their truck, some just don't even care. They're allies, they're supporters, and it's okay to be yourself. This world is made up of a lot more people than just what we have in trucking. And just because trucking's typically a male dominated industry, we're here to stay, and they're going to have to accept it. We have been for years, and we're going to be.
Right.
Not just the drivers that are out and about, but a lot of the gay men and women that can't be themselves because typically, like me, pulling a flatbed, you don't see many gay men and women in there, or
Right.
anybody in the LGBTQ community. So unfortunately, it's a lot of something they're going to have to understand and deal with it. We're here, and it's okay to be you. You don't have to please everybody.
And there's a lot of different areas of trucking that people don't think about. They may expect us to be in certain parts of trucking, but I even know a trans driver that works the oil rig fields in Texas, and I couldn't even imagine, like, how hard that is for a trans driver to work the fields in Texas. But and we have talked to this person, and they have said they wanted to do an interview, but for her own safety, can't be online. So it would have to be where you can't see her face or anything. But I've thought about doing that because she wants to do an interview and talk about what it's like. And I'm not saying I couldn't do that line of work, but I definitely am not made for that line of work. Nope.
No, I mean, I understand her concerns, but we're here about helping everybody, and
right.
We're so out and about and diverse, if you will, that we're not about hiding ourselves.
But it is okay to hide.
It
And it is
is.
okay if you have to, I don't want people always thinking they have to be out, because you really don't have to be out. But if you meet me and you don't know, then I don't know what your problem is. I'm sorry. I'm very bright and colorful, and I don't even think about those things. I think that's where other people worry about me a lot in trucking, because I don't think about those things. I don't change my clothing attire. Some people do. Some people wear very manly clothes. No, I'm in bright tie-dye t-shirts and jeans with holes and patches that got rainbows on them. I don't change who I am from home time to on the road to no matter what I'm doing. And so I forget about that sometimes. I know that sounds kind of weird, but I do. I forget about it a little bit. I think it's because I'm just comfortable with who I am so much that I really don't care in a way. So I know that we had a lot of fun back in October when Derek got to come and visit, and we was at Bowling Green Pride. And I'd like for you to talk a little bit about that because basically what happened is my dad got sick, and then I wasn't really able to be there, and we didn't really have anybody to go live, and I was super shocked in that moment because here's Derek. He just pops up. He's like, well, here I go. So I wasn't really able. I missed some of the event, but yeah. So that's kind of a.
Yeah, I think that was kind of my point of breaking out of myself. You were tied up, you and Ricky and Mom, doing a lot with Dad and back and forth to the hospital. And, we got great members. Yeah, Jean Ann, Tab, myself, Ashley, Jess, all there getting set up and everything. And had one of my good friends, Brad, was with me. So we were able to get things set up and get things ready. And then, well, we need to promote where we are. We moved to Bowling Green. Here's where we are. So let's kick it off. It was a good experience. It really was. I had a blast. I look forward to going back this year. I really do.
Yeah.
Great group of people for being in Kentucky.
So I see Derek, why did you feel you couldn't be who you are and be an asset to the community, the company you drive for, when you were told you are the problem?
So I drive for a very small private fleet. We have a total of 6 trucks. Typical day in the garage is hearing gay this, gay that, gay this, gay that. So I initially wasn't comfortable with being me. But the longer I'm there, the more I'm on the road, who I am and who I go home to at night has no reflection on my job performance and what I do.
Right.
So you can either accept me or you can't. I don't care. So now it's game on.
Yeah.
My job gets done. Nothing gets done. I drive a long nose Kenworth. Not your typical driver. So I'm me. It doesn't affect my job.
Right. So, I mean, there's a lot of really interesting things that the group has seen over the last 2 years. And, when we went to Matt's and we went different places, I expected different things. Matt's actually wasn't that bad. And one of the surprising things is, even when I was driving the Pride truck around when it was wrapped, a lot of people always would think, I hear it on the radio all the time. You hear the banter and the stupid stuff and the comments, whatever. But you hear that for everyone. And I'm not trying to say it's okay, but it's not one specific genre of people. Like, it's not gay, lesbian, it's everybody. It doesn't even matter. Like, I think it has more to do with when my dad was driving, and even you being in the industry as long as you have, I'm sure you have seen the camaraderie between drivers change to where it used to be more connected, and you used to have more people that use the CB radio for a good purpose and not just to cuss out another driver. But now I feel that, like, and so I want your opinion on this, but I feel that, basically the companies kind of put us in this situation. I feel that the companies have a lot to do with how the drivers speak to each other and respect, and there is no respect for each other anymore because there's this constant cycle of spitting out another driver and spitting out another driver all the time. So how do you feel over the time of you driving? What have you seen as a driver and how has it changed towards each other?
I mean, it's just gotten worse. I mean, in some lights, it's got more accepting. So when I started in the flatbed, there were stickers on trucks. And one of the biggest things that made me realize that I didn't want to be in this industry was it said AIDS kills fags.
Mm-hmm.
Was one of the biggest things that turned me off to the trucking industry. Now, gay men, women, the LGBTQ community are slowly being accepted. In one direction, we're moving forward, but as truck driver on truck driver, we're going backwards. There's no camaraderie. Everybody hates each other. Everybody's just to get there. And I think a lot of it is you've got drivers that don't understand what's going on. You have a lot of drivers that just don't care. And you've got a lot of drivers that are just trying to beat the clock now because that's what their company's programmed into their head.
Right. Or reset their clock so they can just keep moving anyway.
Yeah, I'm fortunate. I work for a company. I get to work paper log. So if I want to take a nap in the middle of the afternoon, I take a nap. It is what it is.
So do you think that when it comes to trucking, I have found this as well, but I like smaller companies versus larger companies.
Yes.
Do you feel there's a major difference in that?
Oh, it's a huge difference. Jessica. Yes, it's a huge difference. However, there are exceptions. I'm going to throw a name, the Plainville Transport, Quad Graphics.
Mm-hmm.
Very well-rounded, very gay, very open to minorities, to women, to different groups. It just depends on the company's thinking and what they're about. Right. Somebody like the Plainville and Quad has embraced the whole thing, and they understand it. Other large companies haven't. You're just a number. You're just in a seat.
Right.
Where little companies, I call anybody from the owner to the managers, and I get a response. So it's a huge difference. I don't think I could ever work for a large company again unless it was with somebody like Quad.
And see, I work for a huge company, one of the biggest companies, and they're a worldwide company. And I have a different situation, like with I don't think I will be there much longer, but I don't hate my company. My move is personally going to be for mom.
Yeah.
And other, it's other reasons. It's not really, I still refer people over here. Because they are very LGBTQ friendly. They are very open, and they're very involved within the trucking industry. And then just being very diverse. They're very involved in a lot of different areas. So they even have their own pride department and a lot of different things that they do newsletter wise. And so they are very supportive. And there is some large companies that are, and but then I also feel that when June rolls around and it's Pride Month, and then you see everybody at that moment is LGBT friendly, it seems, and then it goes away at the end of the month, and I hate that because it should be a round the year thing. It shouldn't be just a seasonal thing. It's not Easter. I'm still the same person 365 days a year. So
I'm not just gay for that month. I'm gay for the whole year. So
right. It doesn't.
But I guess this is where the vetting thing comes in, because we try to get things and policies and work with these companies to go something year round instead of doing just that 1 month. Don't stand out for just 1 month. Stand out for the entire year.
Right.
And I guess that's what's different is we work with these companies to do that.
In trucking, what do you think is one of the hardest obstacles in trucking that you've had to face?
I honestly don't know. I really don't. Besides being able to be myself, that's really about it. I mean, trying to be a gay man in a flatbed industry, it sucks. It's horrible. but you got to overcome it.
Right.
And you got to remember, come into the week, doesn't matter who you go home to. You can love who you want.
So have you, in trucking, I deal with this a lot. And so it has changed my bathroom habits. So are you or have you been hit on by other drivers while on the road?
I have been. However, one good thing about where I work is I don't have to deal with truck stops a lot or rest areas.
Right.
I'm able to stay at most of my customers, or I'm able to get home during the week. So I don't have the obstacles that most guys do, or you do, or the LGBTQ community, because I get to be home, or I sleep at my customers because we typically have gate keys or
Right.
codes to get in their gate. So I typically stay away from truck stops.
I asked
More
that
so,
because a lot of people will be like, "Oh, you just make that up. That doesn't really happen." And
no, it does.
it happens. It
Yeah, I've
happens.
had it. I guess my biggest thing now is don't take hate on me for this, but I drive a long nose, everybody. So I worry about parking at a truck stop now because my hood's going to end up in a parking lot. When I drove a short nose, oh, I was there all the time. But yeah, it does happen. You've got some creeps in there.
Yep.
You really do. Oh,
It takes all kinds to make the world go around, and I believe that, and that's just how I feel. And no judgment or hate towards anybody, but
no.
it's just there is many times that, especially for me, I am a person who I talk about everything. I'm very open about stuff. So if I offend you, I'm actually not sorry. But anyway,
I learned the hard way.
but no, I mean, like for me, for instance, I try to still get out of the truck, and a lot of people don't understand that because I try to get out of the truck as much as possible. But, I try to walk into the truck stop. I don't always try to park right next to it. I walk, the parking lot, because that is one of the problems in trucking. It's very hard to stay active, to stay fit, to stay thin, it's a thing. And that if you really are driving every day and you're moving all across the country, you're sitting behind the wheel. So, I do still go inside. I do still use the bathroom as much as possible inside. And bathroom is always a problem for me sometimes. I have found myself more now going to the stall versus the urinal, because when at the urinal, I have people who wave their flagpoles at me. And just nice way to put it. But and it just happens. And I'm like, I don't know. Anyway, it's just one of those things that happens. And just because I'm gay doesn't mean that I want to be with somebody. I have a husband and I'm happy.
Mhm.
And I'm not knocking the people that do hook up on the road. There was a point in time in my life that I hooked up with people. It happens. People do it. Whatever.
The only difference is now you have apps like Grindr, Tinder, Scruff. So going and doing it in the bathroom, isn't as common. It's a lot more old school. Now, people like our best buddy just jumps on an app and there's a hookup and it's done.
I don't know what half the apps you just said was, but okay, sure. It's
Jessica,
been
help me out
15
here.
years since I've been on anything like that. You know what I mean? So it's like we didn't have all of that. Back in my day, it was gay.com. So
Okay, so it's the gay.com version of everything in a mobile app. Okay, now we're showing age here.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying, like, that was what it was back in the day. You had
People are going, what's gay.com? Never mind.
well, back in the day, it was.
Oh my God. Really, Jess?
He's gonna be blocked by the end of the day. Just Facebook's gonna ban him. Oh Lord, I never remember the name. So this is why he says that, you guys. Why he said "Fat Fuck City" is because I never remember the name of the app, and I know it's something City, and it sounds like Sim City to me because I'm a gamer. So like I still play Sim City and things like that, and so yeah, I call it Fat Fuck City. Sorry, but that's just my.
Oh my.
So
You know,
on the page itself and the interactions that you see in the chat groups and stuff we have, because we are growing and having, I like all the new integrated stuff that people are, Facebook's adding and all the different things. So on the page itself, have you seen anything for you that is surprising or community wise?
sorry, I
Besides
just read his comment as he eats KFC. So,
probably
um,
probably downstairs. I'm not sure where.
I mean, our page, it's pretty diverse. We do a little bit of mix of everything from weather to news to LGBTQ issues. The thing that's got my attention right now is all these bills that are going on in Kentucky and Tennessee and Arkansas, and how this is going to set us back 20, 30 years.
It is.
It's just like overturning Roe versus Wade. Unfortunately, his name just slipped my mind. The Supreme Court justice that was the final say, is married to a white woman. Well, when he overturned this, if it would have been that day in his age, he wouldn't have been able to marry his wife.
Right.
So how do you look at it? And now you're turning everything back. Like, if you look at it that way, it's horrible what's happening in these states.
Well, really even here, so like Bowling Green, Kentucky, and Fairness, Kentucky has tried every year, all of our babies, but Fairness, Kentucky has tried every year here in Bowling Green to get it passed. And one of the shocking things for me is one of the city board members that is an African American man, and he is married to a white woman and has a trans daughter. And he denies it every year. Makes no sense to me.
But isn't Bowling Green one of the only cities that's not a part?
It's one of the only ones.
Yeah.
And so that's really surprising to me. But I feel that I don't get into too much politics when I talk, but at the same time, I do feel that a lot of these people who don't have term limits, and they're getting up in age when it comes to the senators and congressmen and women, and I feel that what they are doing is putting these laws and trying to implement them before their time runs out, before they leave. You know what I mean? They leave office. I think they're trying to make these changes now, because as we progress and as things happen, things change and times change. And if you don't like my parents change with the times. My parents are very welcoming, accepting of everyone, and I feel that if you don't change with the times, then you get left behind. And I feel that's what's happening, is these people, before they leave office and they know that they're on their way out because they're older, I feel that they're trying to implement these laws because it's a lot harder to undo them than what it is to get them to pass now. So I think it's horrible. And I don't think that, do you think that drag should be listed as an adult entertainment industry?
No, it's been a form of art for years. It's been in the communities. It's been in the cities. It's been in our bars. I mean, you and I know some of the same drag queens from 15, 20 years ago, for God's sakes, that have been doing it. So it's a form of art.
Right.
Look, if you come down and you say, I don't want you reading kids to the library, maybe we can compromise a little bit. But don't take away what we have. These people do it not to influence people, but it's a form of art. It's entertainment. So I don't know. Putting in all these roles in this bullshit is just ridiculous. And what it's going to do is it's going to do nothing but shut down local gay bars that can't support themselves, because nowadays gay bars rely on their shows for their income. A lot of them
Well, I
do.
mean, think of like, so we have a mutual friend that we both know, which was Theatrix and Jason. And think of him. And when I think of Jason, who has passed away, but and his whole foundation is still ongoing now from his drag daughters, drag sisters, and everybody. But what he did was he did like drag bingo and fundraising, and he fundraised for his local community. And it wasn't just for LGBTQ. He did it for ASPCA. He did it for Humane Society. He did all these different, the homeless. He would choose different charities. And across the country, a lot of people don't realize that drag queens raise money for the local communities and local areas that they're in. And they do it, they give up their tips, they give up their money that they would, and they would put it all together to raise money. Florida does this, and so does a lot of other places across the country. They're very active in their community. And then you have all these people that want to gripe about it, but they don't even realize, they really don't realize. And then I really feel that, being a queen myself, 90% of the people, whenever I was a queen, would, and I'm not knocking it, but when I would look out in the audience and look out in the crowd, it was my straight girlfriends from the hospital, and they were, the husband was at home watching the kids, and most of the clientele was not LGBTQ. It was the girls going out having a good time from the nurses station that we all work together, or from 5th floor or 6th floor, all of them come together and they have a good time, which is great. Because if you've never been to a gay bar, LGBTQ establishments are usually, almost always, a very free place to be yourself. Nobody really cares. And once a lot of my straight friends, even straight male friends, they would be like, take me to the gay bar because I want to see all the, there's all these girls. And
but once you realize they're not going to be getting hit on because they're just a dude, they're fine. They have a good time. But you bring up a good point, and I wonder what a lot of these states haven't considered in these communities is, do they realize the financial impact this is going to have on these charities that these drag queens support? Like, nobody's taking that into consideration.
Right. Even the baseball teams, the local baseball teams, for the uniforms. I know that in Huntington, West Virginia, they raise money for the local band uniforms for students that can't afford it, and low-income housing, and so that they can still be a part of band. And I know that doesn't sound like that's expensive, but it's really expensive nowadays to be a part of these extracurricular activities at school. And if you're a single parent and you're trying to do that, and these organizations and these drag queens come together, and they make new costumes, and costumes are not cheap. Like costumes and feathers and all the stuff that I used to, thousands of dollars that I would spend on stuff. And then you turn around and they use all these costumes to raise money, and put on shows at local venues, and then they raise it and put it right back out into their community. So you're literally shutting down. And I feel that it'll be a trickle-down effect as far as that happens, because in some of these communities, they're not thinking about the good that drag does.
Agreed. And the one thing with Pennsylvania is there's nothing on pushing yet. But like with Thea's organization, her bingos, everything she does is animal shelters. Local fire halls are hosting their group. This is how local volunteer fire departments are raising their funds.
Right.
So now you want to kill that? So you don't have a fire department in 2 years because they don't have the financial means to do it? I don't think a lot of people are looking at the bigger picture on this. It's typical. They're looking narrow, and that's it.
Right. And I do understand. So we'll say this. I do understand there is a couple different types of drag, and that's fine. And it's all about artist and freedom of expression, and I'm not trying to contradict myself, but the one thing I will say is there, even here in Bowling Green, for instance, they had 2 shows in the daytime, and they did have a evening show, and they did say evening show would be more explicit and the style of drag it was going to be, and more adult oriented. And however, it is you can't stop someone from going, and that was
Yeah.
an outside event. And it is up to. I really don't think they should be attacking the drag queens, and I'm not saying we should attack anybody, but I am going to say that it is a parent's choice to take their child to an event in the evening that is, if you know that it says on the banner or flyer that this is the way that the evening show or the late night show is going to be, then I don't think that it's really the drag queen's fault what
No.
happened.
No, it's not. This is where parents and that take responsibility for it. I mean, look at the Bowling Green Pride. I think the biggest thing that blew my mind there was the families.
Right.
These parents bringing their kids just to try and enjoy it and to be accepted. And it was great. And I think one of the best things, besides getting to meet all these different people, was the ending, because us as a group, we all got to stand around and watch all these performers. And it was a great way to end that day. And if we don't have that, I mean, how do you follow up with that next year if you don't have a good performance with drag queens? I'm not sure how you do it.
And then I drove us all home in drag in the truck.
Oh, thank God I was getting ice cream with David. The pictures.
It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun.
It was. Oh, that was a great week.
I think people just, I don't know. I feel like, I don't know why this is going on in our country for sure. And I don't know why the crackdown is now. Sometimes I feel like everybody got cabin fever because we're all locked up in our homes for COVID and all the craziness that happens. And now everybody just is, I don't know what they're doing, but it really doesn't make sense to me. There's so many other things, I hate to knock something, but at the same time, you just had the Florida truck show that happened. And in the Florida truck show, it was supposed to be family friendly. It was a full family friendly event. At this event, they had all the Hooter girls. And at this event, they also had all the ring girls and G-strings and little pasties. And some of the girls were completely topless on all the semi-trucks. Now, I understand sex sales, and I understand, but this was a family event. Topless girls with pasties on in front of children with little booty shorts, and that's okay, but drag is not. That's where I have the problem.
It is. You can't judge. You can't. No.
You can't say that one thing is okay and then you're just contradicting yourself. And I don't have a problem with girls stripping. I know what it is, and I understand that's an adult industry. But when you have an event or a truck show and you have half naked girls or pretty much naked girls on the truck standing there in stiletto heels, then how is that different? Most queens that I know and people that I know in drag wear a full bodysuit underneath. So you're really not seeing any skin. You don't see any of their skin for the most part. They wear bodysuits.
It's mind-blowing.
It's just one of those things that's a hot topic in the world right now. So I wanted to touch this as a topic today because it's just one of those things that, people don't really, I don't think they understand. And just like when you don't understand something, you're scared of it. So what do? Is you reject it.
Mm-hmm. Well, look, what was that? 2 or 3 months ago, we had a trans driver that was in a pilot in Tennessee. Mm-hmm. And all she wanted was to get a soda. And they asked her to leave because they weren't even comfortable with her being in there.
Right. And then we had another one just recently. They kept calling her sir the whole time, misgendering her the whole entire time, every time she went, and obviously does not Oh Lord, not ready for that.
No, no, you're not. I can't see you riding on a scooter with pasties, buddy.
But I mean, I'm very honored to work with everybody that we have within the organization. We have Tab, and because of Doug and everything that happened, it touched so close to home for me that we started a driver memorial program. We have all the different things, and it's lining up, and we keep growing more and more, and having people like Jean Ann and Katie is new to the group, and then you've got Vivian, and Vivian's a hoot, and everybody just ends up loving Vivian because she's just Vivian, and
She is. She's a trip.
who was literally in a video call with Vivian the other day, and she was looking for her phone, but she was on a video call with us looking for her phone. So she's just Vivian. But it's a good-hearted. Everyone's so good-hearted within the organization, and we don't always get along, and I don't want us always to get along, and we don't always have to agree on everything. Like I said, me and Derek did not start out on the best foot, but at the same time, I love him to pieces, and even then, I just was trying to make him understand where I was on it, and it's been very important that I never put anybody in a situation of danger or something that they're not able to handle. And so it may seem silly, but when you go live and you sit and talk about these type of topics, you're going to get people that, I can't believe you fucking said that, or I can't believe you did this, or how could you do, I'm just living my life to whatever capacity of just being true and authentic to myself. And that's it. At the end of the day, that's it. I can lay down in bed at night and I have no problem sleeping. You know what I mean? It's so hard when you're trying to keep all of that in. And it's a very hard thing when you're trying to please all these other people, and it's horrible. There
You gotta
was
worry
a
about yourself first.
trans driver killed in a fuel bay in California simply walking in to pay for fuel. Wow. And that happens. I mean, driver safety is something that I can't get over. There are so many people that walk across the parking lot and they get killed. Parking lots are scary, and I see people. I know everybody likes to throw out that term. Oh well, it's them new rookies out there. The people I ain't been around for. But I see people that have been out here 30 and 40, like a very, very long time, veteran drivers out here. And I feel that they have stopped caring a little bit because of how there is no respect for drivers. And the companies don't put it, they'd rather hire in a new one than to give you a raise. And they would rather pay them $5,000 a sign-on bonus than to pay you a raise for the year.
What you're worth.
Right.
Yeah, it's sad because it's the older drivers too you see flying doing 30, 40 through the parking lots now, not just the younger guys. It's horrible.
So what do you think that needs to happen in trucking? Like what would you say at this point is there a way to change that? Is there a way to change? I feel so many things is disposable now. Like everybody is in this disposable world that.
And there's such a turnover in such a diverse group of drivers that don't even understand what trucking is, that it's hard to kind of guide. How do you change it? Like it's a big industry.
Even in training and safety and I get that, but you're not trained the same as you was. You're thrown in the truck, you're X amount of miles, you got to have 10,000 miles, and as soon as you're done with your 10,000 miles, they think that you're a trucker.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some companies are like that, and then they just stick you in a truck by yourself, and you just wing it. That's literally how it's done right now. And we help people on the page sometimes, like they'll call with a question. Hey, I've never ran, dry freight. I've always done something else, and how do I do this? How do I slide tandems? Some people don't know how to do it because they don't slide tandems. They have fixed tandems. So, when things happen, we try to come in and help, but people don't realize that trucking doesn't teach you everything.
No.
And I guess barely teach you anything anymore.
I guess what people need to understand is, the big thing is, yes, we are the LGBTQ plus, but we're here for everybody. So those of you that are on here need to understand that we're here for everybody. Each and every one of you. You can be a supporter. You could be an ally. You could be someone that doesn't want to be out. And we'll be here. You can message us. You can call us. We're on all the socials. You can get a hold of us, and one of us is going to get back to you. So if you need help out here in the industry, or you got questions, or you're scared, or you're worried, send us a message. I mean, we're not about to out anybody. We're not about to go public with your info. But when we say all, we truly mean all. Like, yes, our focus is the LGBTQ community. But I have no problem helping the guy next door that needs a hand. So you can reach out to us anytime you guys need to. We're here for you no matter what.
Lord help us all.
Oh, there you go. Oh, look at that hat.
Lord, he's huffing and puffing, made it up the stairs. And it got me lava monster. Look at that. Yeah. No, I mean,
where the hell all these beans come from, Derek?
So that's another thing for you guys that are on here live. So for those of you who are on here live, didn't know about it, we're going to Matt's. Kind of last minute to all of us. We all kind of got surprised. But we're going to kick this year in the ass. We're going to have a good time. All the board members will be there. I know there'll be a few others. Jess will be there on his little scoot running around. Hopefully not with pace. Bobby and Ricky will be there. Vivi will be there. Tab and Katie will be there. Sean will be down. Mm-hmm. So it'll be a good time. Don't just.
I think Alyssa's trying to come as well.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, I think she's trying to come as well. So, I mean, I think it'll be really interesting. This year, if you see us, say hi, take selfies with us, pictures. I want to see community involvement of just people and everybody having a fun time. I'm not really, the booth itself, I'm going to do a couple pre-recorded interviews. So if you want to be interviewed, you can sit down with one of us and we will interview you for 30 minutes or 30 minutes or so. And then we'll post it later on the page. It's just going to be a fun thing. I know that we're going to try to go out to play nightclub like we did last year. And then we're going to go a couple different other things, supporting other LGBTQ owned businesses in Louisville, because anytime we do go out anywhere, we do try to do that as well, support the other businesses and around, especially mom and pops. Even if it's not LGBTQ, we always go and eat. We like to eat.
So maybe we post come up with our agenda timeline for when we're going out. That way people that don't or are scared to, because they've got other people with them or drivers to approach us at the booth. If you guys want to come out and join us, we'll post the agenda as to what we're doing all weekend. And you can feel free just to show up and join us. Have a good time if you want. Right. Everybody's more than welcome to join us, the group. Go out and have fun. Let's explore Louisville. Let's have a good time this year.
Louisville's a fun place. I've always loved my little trips to there, Lexington, Louisville, all that area. It's always been a fun place to kind of hang out and do things. And here in Kentucky, if you do pass through Bowling Green, this is basically where the headquarters is at for the organization. And if we're home on the weekend, you always can be like, hey, are you guys home? You want to meet us? I'm usually here on Fridays and Saturdays. And then I'm back out on Sunday. So you can stop in and chit chat, send a message, whatever. And we do use the Life 360 app as well, you guys. We use that as a safety measure just to be able to keep in contact with each other for safety on the road, because you never know when something could happen inside of someone's truck or health problems. And it's a great way to, if you want to be added to ours, it's a great way to have a safety blanket, so to speak. And if you don't use it already, I would highly recommend using Life 360. And no, I don't get paid for that to say this, but I'm just telling you, it's great because I've made like family circles and different circles, and I use it that way that I can see where my mom and dad are at and things like that. So it's just important. It's just really, really important. Don't want to know what Jessica's talking about. But no, so, we got Louisville coming up. We are trying to work on possibly going to an Expedite show. We are trying to plan a cookout over in Raleigh, North Carolina area. Mm-hmm. He's making fun of me again because I say Raleigh.
Raleigh.
And then I think that we're going to do Searcy, Arkansas. We do have Bowling Green, Kentucky Pride in October.
We got this year.
And we're talking about Columbus, Ohio Pride, which is the 16th, 17th of June. And then possibly doing St. Louis Pride. And then Owensboro is the 9th, I think, right? So if you see anything or have any suggestions, just keep in mind, and anywhere you would like to see us at. There is something that me and Derek possibly going to try to work on, which is setting up an area where me and him can come and like publicly speak at companies and talk to you guys about being diverse and inclusive, and just putting that out there, and even putting a video together to try to help with that. And I feel that going, instead of the old JJ Keller, and I know JJ Keller is just what it is, but it's been around forever, and they're corny and they're weird, and like nobody watches them. So I'd like to put at least a 20, 30 minute video together of us talking about safety tips that we do in our trucks, safety things that we do on the road, and then also about being LGBTQ and how companies can be more diverse and inclusive for everybody.
I would like us to see it be a mainstream thing during orientation, just the same thing as Truckers Against Trafficking is.
Right.
They watch those videos, you watch ours. It'd be great.
Right.
Well, I go to enough orientations, that I can always tell if you guys have made it or not.
I mean, he's in a new orientation every week. Oh, Lordy.
Oh, we love you, Jess. We love you.
Well, is there anything you would like to say to anybody before we end out the show for today?
Okay, so remember, everyone, I've been posted on the Facebook page. I am looking for more vetted companies to vet. So if you work for a company that you want to recommend, I won't use your name or anything as a reference. I don't want to get anybody in trouble with their HR. But you can send it to me in a message. You can send it to our Facebook page just to get them on our list. Because, like I said, we want to create a larger list of where drivers are accepted, welcome, comfortable, and protected. So if you have any ideas, message the page, message myself directly. You can message Bobby, Jess, and they'll get them to me. But that's one thing we're going to more focus on this year is vetting our trucking companies. And not only them, if you're a small business, dog groomer, small flower shop, something that is in an area that you want us to use or would like us to promote, we can do that. Remember, everybody gets put in our live TV commercials. You'll get mentioned on our podcast here coming up. We're going to be doing new t-shirts for Pride and for the truck shows. So logos will be on there and you'll be on our banners. So yeah, look forward to it. Hopefully we can hear from some of you guys and we can get you on the vetted list and get the group to grow.
Well, I thank you so much, Derek, for being here. And if any of you want to be involved with LGBTQ plus truck driver network. Also, just step up and say that you would love to be a part. You can attend our meetings and to help us grow and maybe take another spot on the board as well. We're always open to anybody and everybody and thoughts on anything that we're doing. So, come join us and it'll be fun.
And remember, you don't have to be on one of the front ones on display like we are. You can sit in the back. There's enough background work that needs to be done that we could definitely use the help anywhere we go. So you can feel comfortable no matter what, doing anything.
All right. Thank you all so much. And everyone, have a good day.
Thanks guys. See you, Bobby.